People often assume that value is obvious, that worth can be measured at a glance. But sometimes the most precious things are hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone who knows where to look. I learned this lesson from my grandmother, though I didn't fully understand it until after she was gone. My name is Sarah Chen, and I'm about to tell you how my grandmother's worthless art collection changed my life and my family's understanding of true value. The Victorian mansion on Maple Street, including all furnishings and grounds, goes to my granddaughter Victoria Chen, the lawyer read from Grandma's will. My sister Vicky practically glowed with triumph. The property was worth at least $5 million in Seattle's booming real estate market. To my granddaughter Sarah, he continued, I leave my entire art collection, currently stored in the mansion's East Wing gallery. Vicky didn't even try to hide her laugh. Perfect. You can have all those dusty old paintings. They'll go great in your tiny apartment, if you can even fit them. I sat quietly, remembering the countless afternoons I'd spent with Grandma in that gallery. While Vicky was out networking and building her real estate empire, I'd been studying art history, learning restoration techniques, and listening to Grandma's stories about each piece in her collection. There's something special about every one of these paintings, she'd tell me, her eyes twinkling. You just have to know what you're looking for. The reading continued, dividing up other assets among family members. Mom got Grandma's jewelry collection, Dad received some investment accounts. But I couldn't stop thinking about the art collection, particularly about the conversation I'd had with Grandma just 2 months before she passed. Come here, dear, she'd said one rainy afternoon, leading me to a particular painting in the gallery. It was small, dark with age, showing what appeared to be a pastoral scene. What do you see? I'd studied it carefully, using the knowledge from my art history degree. The composition is reminiscent of the Dutch Golden Age. The brushwork suggests mid-17th century, though it's hard to tell under all this grime and old varnish. She'd smiled mysteriously. Very good. Now look at the signature. I peered closer, but the bottom corner was too darkened to make out any details. It needs restoration work. Indeed it does. She'd squeezed my hand. Remember, Sarah, sometimes what seems worthless to others is priceless to those who understand. Now, sitting in the lawyer's office, I wondered about that conversation. Grandma had been deliberate in everything she did. There had to be a reason she'd drawn my attention to that particular painting. The distributions will be effective immediately, the lawyer concluded. Though I should note that Sarah's art collection must be removed from the mansion within 30 days. Vicky was already on her phone, no doubt planning renovations. I need that space for a home yoga studio anyway. Make sure you get all that old junk out quickly, Sarah. Mom touched my arm sympathetically. Honey, if you need help storing the paintings, I'll figure it out, I assured her. I had a small restoration studio where I worked on freelance projects. It would be tight, but I could make it work. The next day, I began cataloging the collection. 63 paintings in total, ranging from small portraits to large landscapes. Most needed serious restoration work. Cleaning, varnish removal, careful repair of age damage. I started with the pastoral scene Grandma had shown me. Under bright lights in my studio, I began the painstaking process of surface cleaning. Hours passed as I carefully removed decades of dust and grime. What made you so special? I murmured to the painting. What were you trying to tell me, Grandma? My phone buzzed. Vicky calling. The contractors are coming next week. I need that gallery cleared ASAP. The will gives me 30 days. Don't be difficult, Sarah. Some of us have actual valuable property to manage. I ended the call and turned back to the painting. The clean section was already showing brighter colors, more detailed brushwork. Then I noticed something in the newly revealed section. A small detail in the background that made my heart stop. Oh my God, I whispered, pulling out my reference books. It can't be. I worked through the night, carefully cleaning more of the surface. By morning, I was sure enough to make a call. Dr. Rodriguez, it's Sarah Chen. Remember that authentication project I helped you with last year? I need your expertise on something, immediately. She arrived 2 hours later, peering at the painting through her specialized lenses. Sarah, if this is what I think it is. Look at the windmill in the background, I said. The specific design, the way the light hits it. And here in this section I just cleaned, the artist's signature mark. She sat back, eyes wide. We need to call Sotheby's. Now. Not yet. I replied, thinking of the other 62 paintings waiting to be examined. First, I need to see what else Grandma's been hiding in her collection. Over the next week, I worked systematically through the paintings. Each one revealed new surprises as layers of dirt and old varnish were carefully removed. Dr. Rodriguez brought in colleagues from the university's art history department. Word began to spread in the restoration community. My phone kept buzzing with messages from Vicky, increasingly angry about the delay in clearing the gallery. I ignored them all, too focused on the treasures emerging under my careful work. Then came the email that confirmed everything. High-resolution photos of an artist's catalog from 1653, showing unmistakable matches to several of the cleaned paintings. Your grandmother, Dr. Rodriguez said, staring at the evidence, was either the luckiest collector in history or she knew exactly what she had, I finished, and exactly who would understand its value. The question was, how many more secrets were hidden in those worthless old paintings? And how would my family react when they learned the truth about Grandma's real legacy? I was about to find out, because I'd finally scheduled the Sotheby's authentication team to examine the collection, and I'd made sure every family member would be there to witness it. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving people wrong. It's letting the experts do it for you. The morning of the Sotheby's authentication, I arrived at the mansion early. The gallery looked different now. Paintings carefully cleaned and arranged, proper lighting installed, each piece documented and photographed. My makeshift conservation lab occupied one corner, telling the story of 3 weeks of meticulous work. Vicky arrived first, annoyed at having to delay her renovation plans for this waste of time. "This better be quick," she said, tapping her designer heel impatiently. "My contractors are losing patience." "Trust me," I replied, thinking of what was about to happen. "This will be worth your time." Mom and Dad arrived next, followed by various aunts, uncles, and cousins, all curious about the urgent meeting I called. Dr. Rodriguez stood quietly in the corner, hiding a small smile. At exactly 10 a.m., the Sotheby's team arrived. 3 experts, led by Dr. James Morrison, one of the world's leading authorities on Dutch Golden Age paintings. "Miss Chen," he greeted me formally, "shall we begin?" I led them to the first painting, the pastoral scene Grandma had shown me. Dr. Morrison's eyes widened as he examined it under his specialized lights. "The authentication photos you sent were impressive, but in person," he turned to his colleagues, "look at the signature, the brush technique, the pigment composition." They huddled around the painting, murmuring technically. Vicky checked her watch ostentatiously. "Well," she demanded, "what's so special about this dusty old thing?" Dr. Morrison straightened up. "This dusty old thing is an unsigned work by Johannes Vermeer, circa 1653, one of his early landscapes previously thought lost. In today's market," he consulted his notes, "conservative estimate would be $35 million. The room went silent. Vicky's phone clattered to the floor. "That's impossible," Mom whispered. "Oh, it gets better," I said, leading them to the next painting. "This one took me a while to clean properly, but look at the merchant's mark in the corner." The next hour was a symphony of gasps and exclamations as the Sotheby's team moved through the collection. A previously unknown Frans Hals portrait, 2 early Rembrandts, a stunning still life by Rachel Rouch, one of the few celebrated female painters of the Dutch Golden Age. "Your grandmother," Dr. Morrison said, shaking his head in amazement, "assembled one of the finest private collections of Dutch Golden Age paintings I've ever seen. The total value," he consulted his tablet, "preliminary estimates put it at over $160 million. Vicky had to sit down. Mom was crying. Dad just kept shaking his head. "But, how?" Vicky finally managed. "They were just old paintings gathering dust." "No," I corrected. "They were masterpieces waiting to be recognized. Grandma spent decades building this collection, buying pieces others overlooked because they were dirty or damaged. She knew what she was looking for, and she knew who would understand their true value." Dr. Rodriguez stepped forward. "Your grandmother contacted me about Sarah's work in art restoration last year. She wanted to confirm that Sarah had the skills to properly conserve these pieces. She was quite thorough in her evaluation." I remembered all those afternoons in the gallery, Grandma testing my knowledge, teaching me to look beyond the surface. She'd been preparing me all along. "She left me this collection because she knew I'd see what others missed," I said quietly. just like she did. The Sotheby's team spent the rest of the day documenting everything. News of the discovery was already spreading through the art world. My phone was flooding with calls from museums and collectors. That evening, as the experts finally left, I found a letter in Grandma's desk, dated 1 week before she passed away. "My dearest Sarah," it read. "By now you've discovered what others were too blind to see. I built this collection piece by piece, finding treasure where others saw trash. Like you, I understood that true value isn't always obvious at first glance. The art world will be very excited about the Vermeer and the Rembrandts. But look carefully at the small flower painting in the corner, the one everyone ignored. The signature under the grime is mine. Yes, my dear, I was a painter too, though I never told anyone. That's my gift to you alone, not for its monetary value, but as a reminder that sometimes our greatest treasures are the ones we keep quiet about until the right moment. Take care of these paintings, Sarah. They're more than just valuable art. They're a lesson about looking deeper, about understanding that worth isn't always measured in obvious ways. And maybe they're also a small revenge on those who judge too quickly and look too shallowly. All my love, Grandma." I found the painting she mentioned, a small, exquisite study of tulips that showed a master's hand. I hung it in my studio, a private reminder of the grandmother who had taught me so much. The next year was a whirlwind. The collection became the art world's biggest story. Museums fought over exhibition rights. I worked with Sotheby's to arrange a historic auction of selected pieces, while keeping some of the most significant works for permanent public display. Vicky's mansion suddenly seemed less impressive compared to the value of those dusty old paintings. She tried to challenge the will, claiming Grandma couldn't have been in her right mind to give away such valuable art. The court rejected her claim in less than an hour. I used part of the proceeds to establish the Chen Art Conservation Foundation, providing scholarships for students studying art restoration. The foundation's first project, restoring neglected artworks from small museums and private collections, looking for overlooked masterpieces. Mom finally admitted that my art history degree wasn't a waste of tuition after all. Dad started taking art appreciation classes at the local museum. Even Vicky developed an interest in art investment, though she still doesn't understand that true value isn't just about price tags. Last month, I opened my own conservation studio in the renovated carriage house behind the mansion, which Vicky eventually sold. The Yova Studio plans forgotten. Young artists and conservators come to learn, to study, to understand the importance of looking deeper. Grandma's portrait hangs in my office, not the formal oil painting the family commissioned, but a small, informal sketch I found hidden behind one of the Dutch masterpieces. In it, she's smiling that knowing smile, the one she wore when sharing secrets about art and value and life. Sometimes visitors ask how she knew, how she built such an incredible collection when everyone else missed these treasures. I tell them what she told me. Value isn't about what everyone can see. It's about what you take the time to discover. The art world still buzzes about the Chen collection discovery. But for me, the real discovery wasn't the millions in lost masterpieces. It was understanding what Grandma had been teaching me all along, that sometimes the greatest treasures are the ones others dismiss as worthless. And sometimes the best revenge isn't proving people wrong. It's revealing just how right you were all along.